Hello and welcome to another video by Day Night Gaming. In this video, we'll be discussing how to make crafting macros in the MMORPG known as Final Fantasy XIV. Alright, so with Endwalker's expansion fast approaching, I wanted to discuss making macros for use with crafting jobs. Now please keep in mind that this video is not intended for use with combat jobs and is very specifically geared toward crafting jobs. Now with that out of the way, please note that there are many reasons why a crafter might want to consider using macros. One of the very popular reasons is making lots of normal quality materials when quick synth is not available. A good example is this Megalania leather. As you can see here under the characteristics, quick synthesis unavailable. So you'd have to manually craft these, and at that point, this is a great time to use macros. So you would synthesize and activate your macro, and once it's done, you can synthesize and use your macro again. Another good reason would be if you're crafting high-end items and you want them to be high quality, but you're making a lot of them, you're mass producing them, and manually crafting 50 or 100 of a high quality item can get very repetitive. And we're going to be making both items, both normal quality materials that are mass produced as well as high-end, high-quality items that might require multiple macros in order to finish the craft. Also, please keep in mind, whenever you're testing out a macro, use the begin trial synthesis and do not use the regular synthesize button. You do not want to be testing out a macro on an actual item that will consume materials when you craft them. Even if you're just copy and pasting a macro that you found online, make sure to test it on the trial and not on a live item. So we're going to open up the system menu, and after that we're going to scroll up to user macros. Then you can pick any number between 0 and 99. For use of this video, we're going to do 0. After that, we're going to select this box right here where it says new, and we're going to find an icon that we want to use for this macro. Then we're going to name it. For use of this video, we're going to type in quick synth. Now as you can see here in the box below at the bottom right, we have 1 out of 15. There are 15 lines total per macro that you're going to use. So for this first line, we're going to use \AC, and what this stands for is action. So \AC, then we're going to put a space, and then we're going to put quotations, and now we're going to spell out exactly on the tooltip the name of the ability we want to use. For this one, we're going to use muscle memory. It's very important that you spell it correctly, and if there's any spaces in between words, you put that space. It's very important. It has to be exact. So here you go. We're going to type in muscle memory. Then we're going to put another quotation. Now, please keep in mind, if you're watching this at a future date, there is a possibility some of these abilities that we're going to be putting in this macro might have been changed. So please do not copy these macros as is, and instead just try to learn the reasoning behind each of the commands that we're going to be inputting. That way, whenever a new patch comes out, you can write your own macros. So far we have \AC, space, quotation, muscle memory, quotation. And I can't stress this enough. The word in between the quotations must be exactly as you see them in the tooltip. So if it's 2 words and there's a space, you have to put the space. Very important. If you do not spell it correct, the game does not know what ability you're going to try and put in, and it will fail to use that ability, and it's just going to go on to the next line of commands and just go down the list of trying to input all the macros as best as it can. So as you can see here, make sure you're very specific about the name of the ability in the quotations. So now we're going to add a wait time. So we're going to do less than symbol, wait, point, for greater than symbol. Very important. So this means it's going to wait 4 seconds, 4 full seconds. You can't put half seconds. You can't put 4.5. If you do put 4.5, it's still only going to wait 4 seconds and then going to go to the next line. So for this whole macro, remember, \AC, space, quotation, muscle, space, memory, quotation, space, less than symbol, wait, 0.4, greater than symbol. And don't put half seconds, only put in full seconds. So now we're going to go to the next line, and this is going to be the next action. And we're going to do \AC, space, quotation, and this time I'm going to put veneration, quotation, space, and for the wait time, because this ability doesn't affect progress or quality, these abilities generally tend to be very fast abilities. So we're only going to put wait 2. But regardless of the times that we're putting, if you have a slower internet or you have a really high delay, make sure you put bigger numbers than what you see here. But for my own personal setup and my own personal internet speed, I use wait 0.2 or wait for 2 seconds. So now we're going to go to the next line and we're going to do \AC space quotation, and this time we're going to do groundwork. Now groundwork will actually affect the progress bar, and anything that affects the progress or the quality bar has longer animations, so they take longer. So you want to put at least a wait 3, which basically means you want to wait 3 seconds before going to the next line. So here we go, we're going to put wait 0.3. All right, after doing so, we're then going to go to the next line, and now we're going to do \AC quotation marks observe quotation marks. Now please notice, even though this doesn't affect the progress or the quality bar, due to the nature of the actual animation, this takes a bit longer than a normal buff. So we're going to use wait 0.3. So we're going to be waiting 3 seconds after we activate observe to go to the next line. And this is a very good example of why you always want to test out your macro on a trial synthesis and not an actual live synthesis, because everybody's gaming setup is different. Everyone's internet speeds are different, and any type of variation could result in different wait times. Alright, so next we're going to use \AC space quotations focus synthesis, and that's because we did observe before that, and currently in this current patch, when you use observe, it becomes a combo action with focus synthesis, which will make it 100% accurate. And then we're going to use a wait 3 timer, because this action will be affecting the progress bar of the item. So now we're going to add an echo. So we're going to do \echo space, and what echo does is going to give a message to me from the game, sort of like a whisper or a party chat, but it's the game chatting to me. And what I want it to tell me is that the macro is done. So we're going to do \echo space quotation marks macro done. You can write whatever you want in this space, and then quotations, and then we're going to add a sound effect. So when it reads this echo, it's going to make a sound. So we're going to do space less than symbol SE dot 1 less than symbol, and what that means is SE is sound effect number 1, which is that brululu. But if you wanted bongos, you could do sound effect 6, or you can play around and see which ones you want. And remember, the words inside the quotations where it says macro done, you can write whatever you want in this section and the game will tell you what you want it to tell you. Alright, so this macro looks really good, but we're gonna purposely misspell focus synthesis on the second to the last line. That way you can see what happens when you make a mistake in the macro. So we're gonna go ahead and delete this space in between focus synthesis, and just that little minor change is gonna completely affect what happens in that line. In fact, it's just gonna skip that line and go straight to the echo macro done sound effect 1 line. So here we go, we're gonna start the macro. Muscle memory good, veneration good. Now it's gonna do groundwork. Now it's gonna do observe, great. And here's where it should be focus synthesis, not a valid action name, and it basically failed, and it went straight to the macro done echo with the sound effect almost immediately, because it didn't even bother doing the wait 3 because the complete line was messed up. So we're gonna manually do the focus synthesis to complete the craft real quick, and then we're gonna do this macro over with the correction in focus synthesis. Alright, so here we go, we've added the space back in. Now we're gonna do a trial, and we're gonna execute the macro. So it starts off with muscle memory, veneration buff, groundwork, observe buff, and here we go, this should be the focus synthesis. It goes off, and then the echo macro done. All right, trial synthesis complete. So there we go, we now know that this macro works. So now we're gonna do a multi macro. What that means is we're gonna need 2 macros. Now the game does not automatically launch both macros, so you have to manually launch each one of them. So we're gonna go ahead and pick a left arrow for the first macro and a right arrow for the second macro. And for the first macro, we're gonna name it Acethites Part 1, because all the Acetite gear is gonna use the same macros. And for the right arrow, we're gonna do Acetite Part 2, or P2. So there we go. And I've already pre-made this macro. So So I'm just going to go ahead and copy and paste. So that's part 1, and I'm going to copy and paste part 2 as well. All right, there we go. So just real quick, muscle memory, weight 3, inner quiet, weight 3, manipulation, weight 2, veneration, weight 2, waste not 2, weight 3, groundwork, weight 3, groundwork, weight 3, innovation, weight 2, preparatory touch, weight 3, repeat that 5 times, and then echo, macro number 1 complete, sound effect 1. So once we have that echo, it's going to tell me the first macro is done. So I know to go to the second macro. Then I'll manually do that. And this time we're going to have echo macro done, sound effect 1. So that's the importance of having echo messages to tell you exactly what you need to know. And I like to drag them into my hotbar because it's much faster than having to right click execute. Instead, I can just hit the hotbar button that's needed. Alright, so because this is a high quality item that I'm trying to craft and a very hard one, I'm going to eat food. Even though I'm doing a trial synthesis, I'm going to try my best to simulate real world situations. So I ate high quality chili and high quality cunning craftsman syrup. Alright, so now we're going to trial synthesis an acetite doublet of gathering. So we're going to execute part 1, and it's going to do muscle memory, inner quiet, then it's going to do manipulation, veneration, waste not 2, groundwork, groundwork again, innovation, preparatory touch, preparatory touch, preparatory touch, preparatory touch, and now the 5th preparatory touch. And there we go, macro number 1 complete. Alright, so now I know I have to do macro number 2. As you can see, the game has not automatically launched it for me. I have to manually do it. So I can look down, I heard the sound effect, and then I'm going to look down, macro number 1 complete. Alright, let's go ahead and do the second one. So it's going to do prudent touch, innovation, observe, focus touch, great strides, Byrogot's blessing, basic synthesis to complete the craft, and now it's going to say macro done and going to play me my sound effect. Alright, there we go. Now for a quick recap, \AC stands for action, and then after that, in quotation marks, you want to put the actual name of the ability spelled exactly as it is on the tooltip, and then after that you want to put your wait timer in seconds, and then at the end you want to put your echo with the message that you want the game to tell you, ending with the sound effect that you want the game to play to notify you that something has happened. Thank you, hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, consider hitting that thumbs up, hitting that subscribe button, and ringing that bell for future notifications on videos that I might be posting in the future. And in case you're interested in supporting the channel even more, I do have a merch website at streamlabs.com/DNGdangerous/merch. And until next time, take care, goodbye.